Hello and welcome back to Frostpunk. In our last episode, we expanded our science or research here. We started thumping coal. We've pretty much consumed all the resources out laying on the ground and in piles, except for these last two coal piles here, which should be done in a matter of moments. This says it's going to be about an hour and a half. We started collecting some steel out here, and that's about it. We're almost done with the drafting machines research, and then I think it might be time to do the next scout. But let's try and get another hunter's hut built before 1800 gets here. Next scout team, that is. Coal piles depleted, as predicted. Let's dismantle that. And now we have plenty of workers again. I want to make sure that I take the engineers out of this one. And drop them in. Drop the workers in there instead. Public house is almost done. Crafting machines research is done, though. Okay, so hunting tactics in 9 hours will give us cheaper or less need for workers in hunter huts. That's a great one to do at this point. Flying hunters is very good as well, but they're quite expensive to build, and I don't know that we don't really have the steel income right now to build them. So I think we're just going to do the hunting tactics, because then we can staff 3 hunters huts for the staff that we're currently employing in 2. Healthcare installation wouldn't be a bad deal. It boosts the heat level by 1, which we looked at the heat level statistic or stat in the last episode. Infirmaries, these are the ones that I was talking about that take steam cores. We're not gonna build these just quite yet, I don't think. So I'm gonna pass on that for right now. Cookhouse installation we don't need yet, but we need bunkhouse before we can get that anyway. Resources in here, gathering post insulation, that's like the one we looked at with the medical insulation. That gives us an additional 1 heat level. That would be not a bad deal. We can also get steam sawmills, steam steelworks, steam coal thumpers. Those are going to be a little bit more expensive than their non-steam counterparts, I believe. A lot bit more expensive. So we're probably not going to get those just yet, but they do produce, let's see, 1120 coal. So they double the output. So it's not a bad expense, but it's an expense that I'm not that comfortable in taking. The large resource depot costs a lot more resources to build, but it does store more, I think, even per sort of tile in the ground. But I honestly don't even use these. I just use a bunch of little ones and I'm fine. So we're going to pass on that. We talked about more scouts. We haven't talked about Outpost Depot yet, but we can't use it yet anyway, so I'm going to pass on it just now. Steam Hub range upgrade, not that interested in. Improved heaters, not that interested in just yet. But we'll get that eventually. But I think right now it's time for more scouts to be started. Doesn't mean we're going to take the additional scouts just yet, but to start them. Ah, this is ready. So let's put engineers in the public house. So that dropped our discontent by a bit, and it raised our hope by a bit. And see, let's drop these guys out. 10, 11, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, and in you go. And that's all of our people, all staffed up. Yeah, see, these guys are reporting sick absences here, so they're not going to be as efficient tonight as to get all 20 food. So we really need to get these sick people cured kind of as soon as possible, before we start having people dying of starvation. But we have another 2 days and a bit before cold is an issue again, so that's okay. Did I turn? Scouts are back. Pause. Thank you. Did I turn this one on 6? Yeah, we don't need the heater. Scouts came back with people, so let's send to send them back out to the weather station, but not. Remember, this takes a day 22. This only takes 16 hours, and then it's going to take maybe 8 hours or something to get... 10 hours maybe to get to the weather station from here. So we definitely want to take the known trip to the bridge, and then continue on to a day in 22 and 16. If we remember that, then we can show the difference in a later bit. Housing. Let's see. I want to start another row, I think. But I can't put one there just yet. Yeah, okay. We'll go here and here. And then these go here. And there we go. That's to start with. I'm nervous about placing too many. You can probably tell. Because I know that there's a thing that's going to have to go here. Somewhere. But I can never remember where it goes. Let's start out here then, maybe? I think that'll be okay. That'll give us the 4 houses we need for the 36 people who are not housed. And the rations they brought back are very, very appreciated. The wood is full, but, well, we could build another resource depot right there, and a road right there. I don't know why you people aren't going into the tents. You should be. Let's zip to 5 a.m. There they go. Laws and next law. This one's a fun one to do. Well, first off, then let's close that. Nope, not what I wanted. Sorry. We could do child shelters, which I'm not really prepared to do just yet. Soon, but not just yet. Cemetery, we could always do, but it's not necessary until we have people to bury. But moonshine's a fun one, so we can give people a bit of liquor now and then to soothe their aching bodies and souls. One of the things this does is every meal slightly lowers discontent, and eating soup causes less discontent. So this law counteracts some of this law. So I don't see the problem, unless you get people getting drunk in brawls, I suppose. But it kind of counteracts that discontent from the food, and it's worth it to me. So I do it because that gives me the extra rations from here. One extra ration for every 2 raw food, which to me is very useful. Are you done yet? No, you're still waiting to build stuff and things. Did I mess up the road? Yes, I did. I forgot a segment of the road. Let's see. We have engineers in someplace. I want to put workers in instead. Yep. Excellent. And those are workers. These are workers. More scouts. So we're not going to use them yet, as I mentioned. Lighter scout sleds is really nice to have. It actually might be advantageous now, but let's think about it for a moment. Before we take something, I always think, I want to take hunting tactics first. That's going to take basically all day to research, but it'll be ready to go when they're ready to go at the end of the day. So I think we'll do hunting tactics first. And then we can do the scout sleds. Because this is going to take them an extra 9 hours to get there anyway. Well, yeah, I suppose that would have been helpful for them for their next leg of their journey, but that's okay. I think I want to build one more hunter's hut. And I think we need a third engineer here cooking. And let's store some wood in here. So that radically increased our wood storage from 300 now to 750 because we have that bonus. And we got the bonus here on the coal as well. But we're going to need another coal storage at some point. Not super duper soon, but soon enough. I do want to get the coal mining before we get to the cold as well. The next cold day. I'm going to have 12 workers for you. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Go in there. You 3 go in there. Although, when we do the hunter thing here in a few minutes, we aren't going to need those anyway. So, 5, 10, 15. Yeah, let's pop those back out. We don't need them. There. And that's done. Hunting tactics. So now, maybe coal mining would be next. Or lighter scout sleds. Let's do the lighter scout sleds first, I think. Yeah, we got time. Got a whole nother day yet. So we just freed up 5 workers from each of these 3, because they were at 15. So now we can throw 10 of them into the next one, and we still have 5 extra workers. So we actually need to probably build something to assign more workers to. The problem is right now, well, actually, it's not a big deal right now. So we probably can start taking more advantage of our workers. Nope, we don't want that there. How about out here? I think that'll be okay where that's positioned at, and then we'll put one behind it also. And then we can come in here, there, and build those. And we'll take our 48 extra people here can build those. And then I think maybe we can have... Oh, how bad are these doing? 600? Yeah, we're good on that for a while. And that's probably enough wood income. 18 per hour. I think that's probably enough wood income for now. Let's take up this... Nope, not that button. Take up this road right here, because it's not in the right spot. It's misaligned. We just got back half the wood we spent on it, which is fine. It's not great, but it's fine. Maybe another steelworks would be okay to do, since we're researching a lot more steel-related stuff now. Probably not a bad idea. Put that in. Or a lot of steel costing stuff. And it's just about time for our workers to get to their destination, their waypoint. Or our scouts, not workers. Alright, and then you guys can continue on here to the weather station, which is, oh, it's 16 more hours. So we did in 16 and 16, which is 32, what a direct trip would have cost. I think it was 46. And actually this is more like 15 hours, so it's even less, potentially. So I'll stop explaining that now, because we've proven that it's worth it. We're down to only 9 sick people now. That's great. And falling. Can you finish this up before the end of the day? Yes, you can. Alright, and then we talked about, I think, coal mining next. And then we'll probably do the improved heaters after that, to get into the cold day. And then, let's see, probably 1 coal. And then I'll save the other one for whatever gets close first. And you're going to need a heater, and you need extra schedule. Yep. That's cold because its heat's turned off because it's closed at this time of day. The heaters automatically turn off when there's not workers present. Actually, this could probably have the shorter time because they get the food cooked in plenty of time anyway. But I think I'll turn it on till we get to the 6 o'clock and start cooking the food right away when the hunters get back because we're out of food again. Because of course we are. And they're just about to their destination. Scouts have reached the weather station. There's nobody in the weather station, but everything still seems to be operational. We could try to find out what the scientists from Winterhome were working on. Grim forecast. We found the scientists' notes. They predict that the great cold is going to get much worse. What's more troubling is that the observations ended abruptly months ago. There's also not a can of Spam, not even a crumb of bread left in the pantry. It's obvious they've moved out for good. We can see the city of Winterhome from the roof of the weather station. So we can see new sites, coal mine, and Winterhome. And let's take the resources. And again, we can see a couple of buildings and a tall, winding tower. There's a sliver of smoke rising from it. Again, we're going to avoid the quest line, the fated Winterhome, and go from there first. Abandoned station. The recent report from the other station has got people talking. They're frightened that such an important facility was apparently abandoned. Some are starting to wonder whether the evacuation from London was a good idea. A few are lamenting openly. I knew we shouldn't have come. At least London had real houses, not tents and wooden shacks. Hope falls slightly, but we'll get answers soon. I'm not worried about the slight fall in hope. Okay, good. Our sick people are still kind of staying low, especially considering that we only still have medical posts. It's not too bad. And let's speed this up. Start processing some of the food that the hunters bring back. And then I think we'll switch this to the short shift. Maybe. Yeah, I think we'll just switch to the short shift. They're going to burn through that food in no time. Alright. Coal mining has been researched. Coal mining optimization wouldn't be a bad deal because that gives us 10% efficiency, not on the stamp thumpers, just on this chain. So that wouldn't be a bad deal. The gathering post installation would probably be a really good idea heat-wise. Healthcare installation would probably be a good idea also heat-wise. Outpost depot we don't need yet. Improved heaters would also be a good idea heat-wise. 9 hours. 9 hours. And 9 hours. I think I'm going to go with the insulation. No, I'm going to go with the heaters first. The reason being that workplaces like the coal thumper and the sawmills and the steelworks in a half a day, or just under a day at 6 a.m. or 7 a.m., whatever time, tomorrow it's going to get colder again. So having some more insulation, or having some more heaters, better heaters out there, is going to be better than insulation that's just in the gathering posts, which are just here. Scouts have reached the coal mine. The coal mine is automated. Its engine is pressurized, but the mining is stopped. The snow around is untrodden, and an eerie silence hangs in the air. More coal than we can use. This coal mine was in operation until very recently. The machinery isn't running now, but there doesn't seem to be anything wrong with it. Perhaps the mine simply extracted its quota or filled the loading bay. We could retrieve plenty of raw materials if we took the machinery apart. So, on one hand, we can take 266 stored coal. This allows us to restart the mine later and get an unlimited amount of coal, or an amount of coal limited only by travel time later. Or we can dismantle the machines for resources, which will give us some extra wood and some extra steel, as well as 2 steam cores. But that consumes, or that keeps us from being able to use this as a coal mining outpost. That's what the outpost depot is for. I've played this one both ways as well. On one hand, we can produce an awful lot of coal on our own in the city, especially with 2 more steam cores and using the steam coal thumpers or something along that line. On the flip side of that, this is basically free and only costs us the amount of 1 outpost team taking this option. So it's kind of trading off the cost of that much wood and that much steel and 2 steam cores versus having an endless supply of coal that's very cheap on the worker front. And like I said, I've played this one both ways, and it works both ways. Neither way bothers me that much more than the other. I think the last time I played, I took this option. So maybe I'll take this option this time. And we'll just do more steam coal thumping if we need to, using those 2 additional steam cores. And we'll get all kinds of coal from that per day. So I think we'll dismantle and do this option. So now we have we've depleted the coal mine. We cannot use it anymore. Back to the weather station is 5 hours. To Winterhome is 14 hours. Weather station to Winterhome is probably more than 9 hours. We'll never know because I'm going to go ahead and click this one and go on to Winterhome. I guess I should have checked that when we were still at the weather station, but I didn't. Okay, unpause, and let's see, the next thing that I want to do is probably build a coal mine. And I'm going to build the one down here first. And of course, take this like that to build the road. A word of advice on steam cores. We have just used our first steam core. Steam cores are a necessary component in advanced technology. We can't manufacture steam cores in the city, so let's hope that our scouts find them during their expeditions. And yes, the coal mine is a very good use of steam cores, times all 3 coal mines, by the way. Possibly the most important use, or most important, I guess, use of steam cores. So we still have a lot of workers that we could spend on something. Maybe it's time to build our 5th workshop in there. Oh. Extended shift, long hours of toil. Sir, our people are worn out. Some of them have been working on extended shifts for days on end. Their effort is taking its toll, and they're becoming restless. They deserve a break. So this is one of those good idea, bad idea kind of things, but literally this time. So you can either agree with this person, agree that it's a good idea, and knock the shifts down to regular length for 3 days straight, or you can ignore it. And I wish that you could click in and do some analysis on your economy viewer before you answer this question. I think we'll be okay if I say good idea. And then if I take all of these down, or did it automatically do it? It did automatically do it. Okay. So that takes our discontent basically down to 0. The only issue is bad food, but the booze is helping that one. And then I'm not sure what the unpopular decision was that I made. But either way. So they're going to only have to do, what, 10 hours of work now? Yeah, 8 to 18 instead of 6 to 20. So they're going to get 4 hours of extra time off. It means 4 extra hours of extra building time for Wally. It's not all a bad thing. It's never all bad. Right, improved heaters is done. Then I think now it's time for gathering post installation. Yeah, because we still can't use the outpost depot because we dismantled the coal mine, so that's not going to give us any advantage specifically there. So I think we'll do gathering post installation next, and then we'll do healthcare installation after that. And then I don't know after that. Let's go ahead and take this one and assign the people there to work. And they're only going to work for another hour and a half. So hopefully we can get some decent research done here. Oh, time to sign a law. I'm going to avoid child shelters for one more cycle. And I'm going to take cemetery instead. And then I'm going to build a cemetery someplace. People, cemetery. I usually kind of stick it out here someplace, maybe. But I could also put it like out here someplace. I think that's an okay spot for it. Build a road to get there. And then once it gets built, we'll get even some more hope. I think that's what that quest does. Oh, I guess we could have seen it here. Yep, hope will rise slightly. Oh no, that already happened. That was when we signed the law, because it was a desirable law. Okay, let's, let's put, people in here. So we can boost our coal production. And... let me think. I'm honestly not sure what else to make my people work on. So I think we'll just work on some tree cutting here. Maybe right up in there. And I'll build a road that just comes straight down like that and into there. And that might need to get tweaked later, but for now, it'll work. They just hadn't built that little segment there. So the part that they had built was flashing. Alright, cemetery has been established. Now we can put our dead to rest, and hope does rise. Okay, a tiny bit more. For the promise being fulfilled. That makes sense. How is our coal supply doing? We are still gaining a little, which is good that we started with this coal mine. We could build another one. That might not be a bad idea, at least to have it built, even if we don't fire it up just yet. And then let's go from here over to there, and then connect that up like that. Alright, get in the medical post, please. Scouts have reached Winterhome. We climbed up to the edge of the city. We stood there speechless, staring at the scene of devastation. It is a city of the dead. Most of the buildings are destroyed, and the generator has exploded. Explore the area. The fall of Winterhome. The streets of the ruined city are littered with scores of dead bodies. The city chronicle describes the shortage of food and citizens' increasing despair, the following squabbles, riots, and descent into anarchy, fights for dwindling resources, and the eventual starvation. The last entry. God forgive us. We're eating our dead. There is no hope. Sites discovered freshwater springs in American camp. And so we have realized that we're on our own. I'm going to unpause for a moment. We are alone. The news has shocked everyone in the city. There were supposed to be many settlements and construction crews here, people living normal lives in homes heated by generators. But we're alone. Hope falls. all of the rabble. Winterhome has fallen. They're all dead? How will we survive here without any help? We have to go back to London. There's no hope for us here in this frozen desert. People start to gather as the news of the fate of Winterhome spreads through the city. Some of them want to drop everything and flee to London. Panic is starting to set in. I must give them purpose. So now we have a choice, and this is a great choice to end the episode on. Choose our path. People are shaken, racked by fear and doubt. They've lost hope in our chances of survival. Desperation could quickly push them to commit reckless acts. You have to unite them behind a vision of the future. Decide now what will give them purpose and restore hope, or else our city will descend into the chaos that consumed Winterhome. A new set of laws will become available. We can either choose order and discipline, or we can choose faith and spiritual strength. I've played both. Once again, I much prefer the style and the... style's not the right word, I guess. But the plan or the usability of faith and spiritual strength. So I'm going to go with that, and that's probably going to be my choice for some of the later scenarios as well. But maybe even all of them where this applies. But I just prefer the way that this works better than order and discipline. So let's choose faith and spiritual strength. And now we have a new set of laws. We have the adaptation ones we've been picking from all along, and now we have purpose, and now we have the ability to sign a law for a house of prayer. And this is basically a church, and we need a place to practice our faith in peace, and so this gives us the ability to build a new building called a house of prayer. It gives us a new ability called a sermon, which is available at the house of prayer and also at the temple, which we'll get later. People living nearby will gather to pray in the houses of prayer, but we will need to build 2 houses of prayer. So let's go ahead and sign this law. The kind of funny thing here is, in adaptation, we just signed cemetery, and it was still on cooldown. But because we hit that trigger for the for the the choice between purpose and order, it reset the law cooldown and actually got us a very quick second or bonus law, basically, which is kind of an interesting exploit maybe, or just mechanic of the game. But either way, we have people waiting for us here, and this is where I usually will take the second scout, because one of the scouts can work over here going to Freshwater Springs, whereas the other scout team, I need to get some people for it. Let's borrow some from here. Whereas the other scout team can work their way this way toward the American camp. This is the point where I like to have 2 scouts. There was a couple of points earlier that I could have had 2, but this is the point where it actually starts to make sense. So the American camp, several big tents, no signs of life. A flag flies over them, the American flag. Even from this distance, we couldn't mistake the stars and stripes. So let's head that way, and I didn't read this one either. We can see distant glimmers of sun reflected on the surface of water. Unfrozen water here points to the presence of freshwater springs. Okay, so we now have 2 scouting parties. Actually, no, I need to fix this one. We need to go to the crash site first, and then go to the American camp. Fortunately, that didn't really cost anything because the game is paused. But as you can see, our hope has fallen almost to nothing, and that's because of the fall of Winterhome. And we'll need to build these 2 houses of prayer, but we'll do that in the beginning of the next episode, because that's where I was trying to remember and plan my housing here, and that's what I was trying to save space for, was the houses of prayer. So thank you all for joining me, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.